Hello, Flosstube. It's Kim, aka Spartan Stitcher on Instagram, and I am back again with Flosstube number 14. Today is the 29th of April, 2019, and the White Walkers visited North Dakota last night. We got about somewhere between 6 and 8 inches of snow. We had a winter storm warning, and there was a 2-hour late start to most people who work on the base today, and at the schools that are on base. So the good news is it's melting quickly. It's 34 degrees outside, so just above freezing. It's very wet snow, and like the areas that were plowed and shoveled this morning are already dry because it's just evaporating and melting that quickly. So hopefully it doesn't last long because it's almost May and we have snow on the ground. And we were in shorts last weekend. Easter weekend, you know, my in-laws were here. We planted some flowers. Just the seeds, luckily. So before the storm came, I covered them with a tarp. I put weights down because they hadn't sprouted through yet. And I'm hoping they're sunflowers that my mother-in-law got for my daughters to plant. So I'm hoping they're okay, but if they're not, I have more seeds. We can always plant them again. Who knew? You know, Easter weekend wasn't a good time to plant some seeds because it was going to snow again. So we'll see how fast the snow melts. But let's talk about stitching. So last week in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature was Havoc at Hogwarts. You had to do 300 stitches on a tree or shrubs or just in green to represent the Whomping Willow. And then you had to do 300 stitches on something building related because of the secret room that is in the, you travel to under the Whomping Willow to the Shrieking Shack. But if you kept the secret of the room, then you could do 450 penalty stitches, which is what I chose to do because if you saw my Mania video, you know I'm getting ready for a page finish Mania, so I needed to get more progress on a full coverage piece. And that full coverage piece was also my whip in Full Coverage Fanatics for the April Sal, which was Zoo and Aquarium. Well, you almost always find horses at a zoo, especially in the petting zoo area. So I chose this as Kindred Spirits by Jody Bergsma. I am on page 2. Focus. Right up here. Now, remember this was a Mania 2017 start. I hadn't worked on it since May of last year and just was having a hard time getting into it. Well, I've worked on it 7 days now and I'm completely obsessed. I don't know what took me so long. You know, the usual story. Why haven't I stitched more on this piece? There are so many colors in page 2, and the way that they blend and flow is just awesome. So, I did 900 penalty stitches because these are 10 stitches. So, for the 450, I had to double it and do 900. So, let me see. Can't be focused. This is the start of the main of the Frisian. So I did the 900 for homework, but I also did a lot more because I was doing by the numbers 1200 event in Full Coverage Fanatics, which means 2400 stitches. And then I did the math, and I wanted to get more work on this for a few more days after I did the homework. And I said, you know what? I really want to try to have some of these stitches count for an ultimate task because I've told you I don't like wasting my stitches. If I can make this fit one of the tasks, I'm going to. So I looked at all the tasks I had left and I thought about it, and one of the tasks was 7 tasks to reach the Sorcerer's Stone. And if you remember back at book 1, one of the tasks that they had to do is the three amigos had to play wizard chess. And Ron became a knight. He rode the horse and he became a knight. Well, if you do some Googling, which I did to support my thesis, if you will, most Knight's horses, of course, are the heavier breed to support their weight. And if you look, they're like a Spanish Barb or a Spanish Norman horse, to which the Frisian, and we're going to call this an Andalusian, descended from that breed back in medieval times. And I have Wikipedia screenshots to prove it, to put in my ultimate stitching task homework. So, Frisians and Andalusians. So these are Knight's horses. So, one thing you can do when you're doing your ultimate task is if you start an ultimate task and then you have to use your piece for homework, just pause your counting for your ultimate task, do your homework stitches, do the rest of your ultimate task stitches, and then when you post your finish pick, just state what you did. So, I had 1,500 stitches before I did the homework, and then I did the 900 for the homework, and I did 500 more, or, you know, a little over, so I was over I was over 2,900 stitches total, and I had pictures to support everything. And so I put my finish pick, and I said, here's my finish pick. 900 out of these 2,900 count for year 3, week 9 homework. So it's all very clear to the prefix when they grade my ultimate task at the end of the year, what I did, and all the stitches are there. The pictures are there to support it. So that's one more ultimate task out of the way. I think I have 9 done out of 22. So we're ahead of what I need to do to get them all done by the end of the year. And then what I do for green. Let me see. My green stitches, I didn't really have 300 stitches enough for something that was a tree or a shrub. So I just did stitches in green. And one of my personal goals this year is to finish this piece. This is Guardian Angel by Lavender and Lace. Again, I'm not stitching that outer oval. And I started from her elbow, in her, like, from the skirt under her elbow and worked down. So all I have left is like where my finger is covering. And that, as you can see, is a whole lot of green. So it only took me like an hour or two to get my 300 stitches in green. I do want to get more progress on this if I'm going to finish it for the end of the year. So let's see, focus. This lightest color green, that was my starting point. So I did, I think it was DMC 501, 502. And there's my 300 stitches into that little bit of flower swag. So there's my 300 stitches. I'm keeping this on the Q-snap in hopes that the homework that starts May 1st or year 4 might be something I can use this for. But it'll be real easy to take off if I need to. So there's Guardian Angel. And then my everyday piece for quarter 2 for the 90-day challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics is Oh Baby. Again, this is the one where I'm cropping off everything to the left of that line because it is unnecessary and wouldn't fit my fabric. So, if you saw my Mania video, you know that I want to get 2 pages done on this piece in May. I'm already very close to a page finish down here. So I finished the white and I said, all right, it's close enough. And I'll show you. I'll take the bottom of the Q-snap off so you can see how much is left just to get that page done. And then I came up here and I gridded this page. That's, you know, forelock and mane sticking up and the start of the ear. So I gridded that page and I started working on it so I can get a head start on that page for May. So let me take off this grime guard. Stay up there. Okay. So you can see, you may not be able to see the white stitches in there, but I have a thin line here and just like on the side, thin lines here. So just a little bit of shading. and that page will be done. So a couple of days on that and I'll have a page finish in May. My first page finish in May. And then I gridded this page. So you can see here's the forelock and mane that's sticking up between his ears. And there's the other, where the other ear tip will be. So I just started working on the green. There's like 5 or 6 different colors of green that are gonna be in there. So I just started working on that. So I have 2 more days to work more on this green and get ready for page finish mania. And while I'm thinking about it, thanks to everyone who has found me due to my Stitch Mania video, all my new subscribers and people who watched and commented. I really appreciate it. Welcome. I'm now over 700 subscribers, which is incredible. So I hope you guys continue to enjoy my videos. Okay. For this week, there's going to be 2 different homework assignments because it's the end of year 3 and the beginning of year 4. For the end of year 3 is Little Owl Post. Now this is one of the reasons why we had to post a photo album in the group with up to 20 whips and post a list and pictures as to where they are. So Vicky and Kate said, work on your smallest by stitch count, and every 100 stitches gets a point. If you finish it and fully finish it, you will get 50 bonus points. Things to note, you do not have to take a picture every 100 stitches. They're weighing heavily on the honor system this week, so be honest. Take a start picture, take a finish picture, and say, this is how many stitches, so I get this many points. They are asking if you do, especially if you do fully finish and you want those bonus points, put a link to your album or to the saved post that leads to your album, so that the grading prefix can just double check. So we're not, because if you didn't load your album in time and you saw what the homework was and you took advantage and kind of stacked yourself for success, putting a bunch of small pieces in your whip album, then you're not eligible for the 50 points. Because there's no limit as to how many you can try to fully finish in these 2 days. I mean, it's a 48-hour period. So every 100 stitches gives you a point. Every FFO gives you 50 points. My smallest whip is the 1930 Alfa Romeo. I had 2 smalls on my whip list. So it is this one right here. I started this in year 1 for the Sorcerer's Stones task. I was using this grass for the tangleweed or whatever it was called. And I had the grass done, and I had the beginnings of this tire, the black stitches of that tire. So not very much. So I had black here and a few stitches here. Well, this morning I've already done over 500 stitches. And I finished up all the cross stitches. I only have to back stitch it. So, I changed the green of the grass to something that looked healthier. So all I have to do is back stitch that. And then for fully finishing this piece for my husband, he really likes cars. And so this weekend, because they posted the homework early, even though you couldn't work on it, it allowed you to, to plan and think of what you're doing. So I was thinking, how am I going to fully finish this? Is it going to be an ornament? Is it going to be a flat fold? How am I going to finish it? So I was looking through everything that I had, which includes some pads of scrapbook paper that you can buy, trying to see if there was a pattern or a print that suited that piece, and lo and behold, I had one, and it was in this pad. You wouldn't think Beach House would have something to do with a car, but I also did some Googling and Wikipedia searching, and Alfa Romeo builds most sports cars, fast cars, and in the 1930s, this kind of car was used for racing. Alfa Romeo is manufactured in Italy, and of course these if you're competing in races, you're traveling all over the world. So I'm thinking map, roads, that kind of thing. Well, in this beach house pad, and these sheets are 8x8, I found a few different map collages or, you know, globe pattern. And then at the very end of the pad, I see this. Now, the writing is not very much in English. There's a few postmarks that are in English. But that is Italy. How cool is that? An 8x8 piece with a map of Italy on it. So, here's my idea. Once I finish the backstitch on this, I'm going to cut down the fabric a little bit, fray the edges, and use some double-sided tape. I'm going to mount it on this piece, and I'm going to cut this paper either to fit a 4x6 frame or a 5x7. I'm going to have to play around with placement because I want you to be able to see that this is Italy. So I don't know if the car will be up here or I'll have to play around with placement where I'm going to put this car, how I'm going to cut the paper to fit into a 5x7 or 4x6 frame. And I have both sizes here in the house. So that'll be, I've got at least one that I'll be able to finish because it's only Monday. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I can definitely finish the back stitching today and get this on. So then what am I going to work on next? Well, my next smallest piece is a golden retriever piece that I started again in year 1 for the one where we got extra points if we actually stitched on a dog. I told you that we have a golden retriever. So I have this leaflet 99 lovable pets. And I'm going to work on the golden retriever. My dog Liesl loves to play with the tennis ball, of course. She loves to retrieve things. But she is more of a reddish golden retriever. So I'm doing a color conversion on her. This was just, I've had this leaflet for years. I think a lot of them are super cute. Especially like, you know, there's a Puss in Boots. And that one's a mouse, but there's also another one that's a cat. I just think these are cute. And, you know, I had some 14 count Ada and I was like, I need to get to working on some of these. So when that homework came up that you had to stitch on a dog, I was like, okay, I'll start a dog. Well, now it's on my whip list and it's my second smallest whip. I'm going to have to figure out which way this goes. I think it's this way. I don't think I'll get this finished. The reason I was able to whip out 500 stitches on this piece is because it was wide enough that I could, I mean, it's barely big enough to fit on this 8x8. But because it is, I was able to stitch two-handed. Because this is on Monaco and it was pretty floppy and I was like holding in one hand and the fabric was just kind of flopping over, and so you're constantly moving your hand up and around it. And I did 200 stitches and I'm like, no, I'm done with this. I got to make it fit. I was either going to use this or mini stretcher bars and make something so I could stitch two-handed. This piece is smaller. I won't be able, I can't even fit it on my 5x5 stretcher bars. It's not big enough. So I'm going to have to stitch this one in hand. I am left-handed, and the way that I stitch one-handed is to actually hold it in my left hand, because then my fingers on the bottom can help guide and where my needle's going. So I actually stitch with my right hand when I'm stitching one-handed. I don't know why. It just works for me. So once I finish this today, I'll work more on this and get more sets of 100, but I highly doubt that I will get it done. We'll see though. You know, stay tuned next week to find out if I get it done. Or watch my Instagram at @SpartanStitcher. So those are my plans. And then you know from my mania video, of course, when I'm planning for May, I will try to either fit any of those full coverage pieces into the homework or Guardian Angel, so I can get more done on her. So those are my plans for May. Let's see. I didn't get much stitching done on Wednesday because I was grading week 8 homework, which was the Hogsmeade. And it literally took me 10 hours. I started a little after 10 in the morning and I finished a little after 8. Now, given there was interruptions in there for, you know, eating and getting dinner ready and eating dinner and interruptions for the youngest child wanting things, and you know, picking up the oldest from school, but still it took me 8 hours to grade through week 8 homework. So my grading team has decided we're not grading these 2 days because we need our own chance to earn our points for, you know, such a short homework week. But after May begins, we'll start working on grading all the extra credit and, you know, reading Prisoner of Azkaban and Animal on a Cover, all those things. We'll start grading those. So I don't really have much of a story this time. That's all the stitching, kind of. I have a future idea of stitching that I want to talk about. So, my husband's cousin, so my mother-in-law has 2 sisters. One of them has children. So my husband's cousin, like, literally just came back yesterday or the day before from a trip to Scandinavia. She visited Denmark and Norway and Belgium, I think, even though that's not really part of Scandinavia. Anyways, part of traditional Norwegian dress is this outfit called a bunad. Now, Rita Marie, you'll have to forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. She took some pictures in a museum because this traditional dress is different depending on which region of Norway that you're from. So here's some pictures of some that she took. So you can see it's, you know, basically you got your harness, if I can talk, hanger down here on the bottom, and this bodice piece is what changes a lot depending on what region you're from. And you can see down here all the different versions. Let's see, here's another one. It's hard to see with all the glare, I know. You can see that you're on my guest bed. Here's some close-ups of some of the bodice pieces. Let's see the focus. And what's cool is that my husband's cousin took with her great-grandmother's bunad. So it would have been my mother-in-law's grandma. She was from the region, from Lillehammer area. And so my husband's cousin was wearing this, you know, traditional dress, different places, and took some pictures. The first one I have to show you just because of the background. I don't know where in Norway she was, but look at that cathedral. Isn't that spectacular? So, and then here's a bit of a close-up. Just look down at here at the bodice work. There's a lot of beads on there. I'm not Jessie Marie. I don't know what kind of, they're like the longer beads. I don't know what you call them. Let's see if I can focus. So what I did is, you know, she was posting these comments on Facebook. And I said, I need some close-up pictures of that. Because my mother-in-law and her 2 sisters, of course, they're very proud of being Norwegian. They are each 75% because their mother was 100% Norwegian and their father was Norwegian and Danish. They actually met on the boat coming over. So, like, pure Scandinavian. And so my idea is to replicate that pattern that's from, you know, the Lillehammer area of Norway on the bunad and stitch it on a flat piece of fabric. I'm not making clothes, just on a flat piece of fabric that I can then frame or stitch multiple times for the three sisters and frame it for them to represent their Norwegian heritage. So that's my idea. I have to get pictures. I have to see how easily it'll be to translate it into cross stitch and beading and whatever embroidery I might have, and then look for materials and stuff. But I'm just really excited because it's something that I can do. It's something creative. I'm not coming up with the idea myself. I'm just kind of translating it. So I don't know. And stay tuned to hear more about it whenever that happens. Focus. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. I'm really enjoying watching all the Mania plans. I hope that no matter what you do, you enjoy your May, whether you're doing Mania or not, or Monogamania, whatever version you're doing. Hopefully the snow melts here and we'll get back to nice weather. So I will see you guys next week. I have to get back to stitching so I can do my back stitch and fully finish this piece. So have a good day, guys. We'll see you later. Happy stitching.